Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the podcast. Today, we're absolutely delighted to be joined once again by Jack, the Punk Kid Hughes. How you doing, matey?
Good, mate. How are you?
Yeah, all good, thank you. Glad to have you back.
Glad to be back, mate.
Good stuff. You all right, Shano?
Not too bad, Tomo. Glad to be here. Glad to have Jack on again. Yeah, one of those busy sort of couple of days I've had. I've got a boy who's 17 and he tested positive for COVID. So it's like you've got COVID in the house, but you're swerving it. I mean, I feel like I'm James Bond rolling into his room, giving him his food, getting out without catching the COVID. Bar that, it's all good.
Yeah, I know you've had a busy few days. You worked yesterday. You were working again today. You only finished about an hour ago. I'm starting to worry about you, mate. So it's glad to see you on here.
Yeah, we're right, mate. This is the nice part of the day. This is like the wind down. Do you know what I mean? Quite enjoy this bit.
Absolutely. Right, Mr. Hughes, before we jump into it, but for people that don't know, I think it's worth saying that you were meant to be fighting for the Southern Area title on the 27th of November. I'm pleased to hear that you are still fighting. You was meant to be fighting Ricky Little, and unfortunately, once again, he's pulled out of the fight.
Yeah.
So did he give a reason, or how did that all sort of come about?
No, mate. I didn't even ask for a reason, to be honest, because it's just beyond the joke now. Like, no matter what reason he gives, I'm not going to believe it anyway. He said he had COVID because he never once promoted the fight, never said he was fighting, never put any posters up, nothing, you know. And if you're trying to sell tickets, I don't understand why you wouldn't be promoting a fight. So just 4 weeks away from the fight to say you've got COVID, that's not good enough for me, especially seeing as he told me that he knew he had COVID for the whole time of camp. So when the fight first got announced, wouldn't you have said, oh, I've got COVID, could we push it back a little bit? So on and so forth. So I didn't really believe that excuse in the first place. And then, so when he pulled it again, I never asked for a reason, but apparently I was watching the Steve Goodwin podcast that he does.
I saw that,
and they said that no one can even get hold of him. So, and Martin asked a good question, and he said, if no one can get hold of him, like, who the hell signed the contract then? If they want, you know what I mean? I just don't know what's going on. It's all a bit of a madness at the moment.
It is a strange one because I remember saying to you a little while ago, we tried reaching out to him, like following him on his social media account, because we thought it'd be quite good to get you both on, to talk about your up and coming fight, to obviously help promote it. But yeah, obviously we couldn't get in touch. And I think another platform you went on, they tried doing the same thing. But yeah, no, it sounds like he's gone AWOL.
Yeah, it does, mate. It doesn't really shock me. I mean, he's got no balls, mate. So, I didn't expect him to ever turn up in it anyway. I said it in the last podcast, I kind of mentally prepared myself for him to pull out. So it didn't really ever come as a shock to me, but he's just wasted, he's wasted everyone's time. He's got people excited for a massive fight on the small hall scene. That's probably it's definitely never going to happen now. So he's let a lot of people down, including himself. So it's just an embarrassment, really.
So it's got. I was going to say it's got to be quite annoying, though. Do you know what I mean? Because obviously it's probably one particular fighter that you would like to turn over, and do you know what I mean? It's for him to avoid you and for him to sort of like not turn up. I know how much it is you wanted to sort of like get him in the ring. So again, like me and Tom just can't understand if he's there, what the issue is. Do you know what I mean? Just if you don't want to fight, don't take the fight. Do you know what I mean? Just say I'll take it in a couple of months' time.
Yeah, I don't understand it. I really don't. Like, it's not even. I just don't know, man. Like, what he did was just such like a scummy thing to do on so many levels. Like, he should be so ashamed of himself. Like, he put me through so much, and like so much happened to me in the build up to both camps, and I never made one excuse. I was always going to turn up, and for him just to like let me down, let himself down, let his friends and family down, let my friends and family down, let my promotional team down, let his promotional team down, let both shows down that we were meant to fight on. It's just disgusting, really. As I said, he should be so ashamed.
It's got to be difficult to try and sort of like rebuild that kind of trust and faith in people. If you're doing it once and you're doing it twice, Do you mean, how hard is it for you to try and sort of like put yourself back in the window again? Because do you mean, who's going to want to take you on as a potential fight, knowing what your history is?
Yeah, exactly. Like, who's gonna? This is what I said. I made a YouTube video. I don't know if you guys watched it or not. Saying like,
fine, mate.
Yeah, you know, saying, you know, like, what's next for him now? Like, who wants to fight him? Who's gonna want to, you know, put themselves through 8 grueling hard weeks, knowing full well that he might not even turn up for a fight. He's not got a belt now. He's put himself in a bad position. Like, really, where does he go from here now? You know.
I was just going to ask you about what happens with the belt, but you've answered it. So he's been stripped of the southern area.
Yeah, he's been stripped now. Yeah.
So how tough has it been for you? I know that you've said that, you know, mentally you've sort of been preparing for him to pull out, but when you've got a fight coming up, you're training for someone physically, you're like mentally you're preparing. In the back of your mind, knowing that at any point you might get that call to say, yeah, you know, it is off. How do you deal with that?
Mate, it's just been, this has been, you know, especially like the whole build up from the last camp to this camp, not like training wise, but just with everything that happened, it's been like the worst camp of my whole life. Like, it really has. Like, so much has gone on, like emotionally, physically. It's just been so draining. Like, you know, I was getting ready for the fight, and then like I caught COVID. This was the first one back in October, so I was out for like a week, but I was still turning up, you know. And then obviously I got the call that he had pulled out, and I was in incredible shape for that one. And yeah, so then I had to obviously take a little bit of time off, come back, start from scratch again, and like start working my way up. And then, like, you know, I quit my job back then as well, and so I didn't have any money coming in, but I had saved up money to go to America. I'd saved up like 2.5 grand, so I gave that all to my girlfriend and was like, here's the bills paid until October. And obviously kept a bit of money for myself to, you know, get by travel wise and so on and so forth. So then obviously I had to start working again, started working. And then when I got to the, you know, the next fight, I was like, oh, I'll go down to part-time. So I was working like 2-3 days a week, but I was earning like nothing, like probably like £400 a month. It wasn't enough to pay my bills. So my girlfriend was like supporting me the whole time. And then my girlfriend's granddad died in the build up to the fight. So obviously that was, you know, a real emotional time for her. And, you know, I had to be there for her to support her. And then on a Sunday night, I met one of like my old school friends, like walking down the street, and I like speaking to him, said hello, yada yada yada. And then on the Monday morning, I woke up the next day, and he had killed himself. He was when I spoke to him, he was on the way to go kill himself, and you know that was really emotional for me to deal with. So, you know, my girlfriend had lost her granddad, and then I had lost a friend that I had, you know, known my whole life. And yeah, so it was just a real horrible 3 weeks for us, and we really struggled, you know, like financially, and I had struggled with obviously my loss and her loss, and then training, like I busted up all my knuckles, I busted up both my thumbs, and like still now it's still agony for me to like hit the bag and so on and so forth. So it's just been a real horrible 2 months for me and my girlfriend, really. But you know, we're nearly there now. You know, there is some light at the end of the tunnel. Like, you know, I've got a big fight and I've still got the title in March, but I'm kind of just glad to see the back of this training camp in the next 2 weeks, and then I can just, you know, be with my missus and just kind of forget the world and go down to Scotland and just enjoy our time down in Scotland together.
Mate, yeah, obviously, you know, I'm very sorry to hear about your friend, and please, you know, pass on our condolences to your missus. I did hear you mention that on other videos and on your social medias, but I thought, well, you know, we'd wait till we got on here to actually say that to you.
Yeah.
So, you know, financially, sort of, you know, emotionally, like mentally, you've obviously been through the ringer over the last few weeks, but you know, I suppose just being in camp, that's pretty kept you sane, kept you going.
Yeah,
and knowing that you got a fight for the, you know, coming up on the 27th. I was going to say, if you couldn't get another opponent, I was going to volunteer Shane to step in, because he probably doesn't weigh too much different to you. He's quite he's nimble, but he can move quick, and he used to do a bit of fighting back in the day apparently. So, but lucky enough for Shane, you managed to get another opponent.
Yeah, I could have avoided you for the first 3 minutes, I think, but then I would have gassed out, and then you'd have caught me. I could have watched for 3 minutes. I would have been all right.
I would pay lots of money to see.
Do you know what I was thinking? Oh, sorry, Tom, I'm going to butt in here, but you might not know this stuff, but obviously we do a football podcast on a Monday, and we've got this little thing going on where we have to predict the scores, and at the end of the season, we've got a couple of like forfeits. Now, Tom thinks that he's going to have me in a Wonder Woman dress or something if I lose the bet. Yeah. I'm thinking maybe as a forfeit, maybe Tom can do a round with you if he loses. I'll be quite happy to do that.
Yeah, you can do that.
Lovely. There we go. Forfeit sorted, Tom. I said we should run out. Well, he's under it now.
I don't plan on losing, so I don't think I'll be getting in the ring. But yeah, that would be quite funny to get in the ring with you, Jack, for a little bit. But yeah, I'd imagine once I've thrown one punch, you'll probably hit me 4 times. I'll be down on the floor, taking the knee or something. But you mentioned, your girlfriend a lot as well, being there for you. I know you sort of did touch on it a little bit, but it's for us we've learned over the last few weeks how tough it is, fighting on small hall shows when you've got to sell lots of tickets. We had Mark Little that spoke a lot about it as well. I think he said he had to sell like 60 or 70 tickets just to make £1. Yeah. So for your girlfriend to be there for you throughout, like almost like you rock, helping you financially as well. How good has she been throughout the whole sort of process and just sort of keeping you on track?
Yeah, mate. Like she's always she's my biggest fan, as they say. She literally is there every step of the way. When I'm training, she's there. Like if she's off work, she'll drive me down. She'll wait the whole hour, 2 hours there with me. She'll like, comment, share all my posts. She's the one special one, they say. Like she is literally my rock. She's there all the time, and I could not ask for a better partner for this whole experience. Like she really is amazing.
Yeah, and I speak to you, since you came on the channel the first time. Obviously, I spoke to you really throughout, since you obviously come back today. And she sounds like she quite likes boxing. You're often at York Hall. I know you take your missus along with you. Yeah. But it'd be nice for on the 27th to see you jump back in the ring as well.
Yeah. She loves it. She her dad grew up like on the amateur scene and in Wales, and like so she's always been around it her whole life. And then it was kind of like probably meant to be. She was probably meant to be with a boxer, and I come along, and now she's like really involved in the sport, and like she does the media days with me. She's, as you said, she's always down York Hall. We just enjoy our little thing we've got going with our relationship and the boxing. It just seems to be a perfect fit,
No, absolutely. And with the America trip, then I know you've sort of put that on the back burner for the minute. But where was you planning on going? What's your plans for America?
Well, I've always loved America. Like when I was younger, we used to go to Disneyland, Florida all the time, and obviously as I've grown up, I've always kind of like idolized the American scene. Like everyone always says I'm a perfect fit to be in America. Like my dress sense, my style, my attitude, it's all very American. It's all very punky. So I was either gonna go back to Disneyland for like 2 weeks and kind of like relive childhood memories, and then finish off the whole thing with a MGK concert, who's obviously my idol, or I was going to go to California and basically just live life out in California for 2 weeks and do the same thing, finish it off with a MGK concert. But I don't know when that's going to happen now. It hopefully next year, but it'd probably be towards the back end of next year, or maybe even the year after. But it will happen. I've just got to be patient with it, and good things come to those who wait, they say.
Looking at next year, the interview that you referred to earlier with Steve Goodwin, and I can't remember the other fella's name, but they were talking about your opponent for the Southern Area title in March.
Yeah.
I did actually reach out to him, and he's going to come on at some point.
Oh, nice.
So get through. obviously, you know, this fight on the 27th.
Yeah.
But I was saying to Shane before we came on, we can do something, you know, get you both on to have a chat about the fight. And that's, is it like the 12th of March next year for that one?
Yeah, 12th of March, yeah. That's right.
And just going to the 27th, we was talking again about your opponent. He sounds like he's got some power. He's had quite a few knockouts. I know his record recently hasn't been the best, but you're going in there with someone that can punch.
Yeah. Well, he's like 3 or 4 weights bigger than me anyway, so that's already, you know, a big advantage in his favour. He's won 3 African titles. I think he won the Pan-African title, the West African title, and the Grenadian title. So he's won 3. He's won 3 African titles. Obviously, as you said, that was a couple of years ago when he was a bit younger. But yeah, he's got 19 wins and 10 knockouts. He's got a winning record. As I said, he's 3-4 weights bigger than me. So it's a real big ask for me. And really, when you look at it on paper, a flyweight should never really be in there with a featherweight. But it is kind of what it is. It's like, it was either take this fight or just let everyone down once again. You know, my people have already been let down enough, you know, over the last 2-3 years. You know, the fight with Ricky Little was meant to happen 4 or 5 times, and it's been called off 4 or 5 times, and it's not fair. It's not fair on me, and it's not fair on them. You know, I put a lot into this, and I deserve to fight. I deserve my moments. And yeah, so when Steve put it forward, it was either that or just wait until March. And I've already been out long enough, and I don't want to be sitting around waiting until March again. I want to get out. I want to give people a good night to remember. But I owe it to them. I owe it to myself, you know. So yeah, we took the fight, and I'm really excited about it. I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah,
I think. Sorry, Tom. I was going to say, I think I've seen some of the like the previous fellas that your next fight is going to fight. Is it Raymond Connie? I think I've seen a bit of his record, I think, and it looks like that he does turn up on the occasion, because I've noticed that there's some fights where it looks like he's gone in prospects, and I imagine the promoter or the managers thought, we get him in with this prospect, our prospect will turn him over. So it looks on occasions that he has turned up and sort of like turn people over. So I'm guessing for yourself, and no doubt you are 100% sort of focused on what you do, and you probably expect potentially he could do something. So I'm assuming you will be bang on it 100%, not taking anything for granted.
Oh yeah, I'm always bang on it, mate. Yeah, when training starts, I'm always bang on it. But his last fight was against Matt Hillman, and I saw that it was only Matt Hillman won it by 1 point. And normally when the home fighter wins it by 1 point, it's always a bit like, oh, you know, did he really win that fight? You know, because it's always in the home fighter's favor. So Mr. Raymond probably actually nicked it that night. But at the same time, Martin Hillman is he's like a super bantam or featherweight, so they was about the same weight, and he's also 5'8". But I'm 5'5", 5'6", so you know he's quite a bit taller than me. So if he's still turning up like that, it is in a way, like, again, on paper it is bad news to me, but I'm more than confident in my abilities. I know how good I am. I know how hard I've been working. I know the people I've been sparring. So I'm not worried in the slightest. I know how good I am, and I just really cannot wait to get in there.
Have you had to make many adjustments? Sorry, mate. Have you had to make many adjustments, given that obviously you're meant to be fighting Ricky Little, but now you're fighting the other fella that obviously a few weights higher?
Yeah, 100%. You know, like, we had a game plan for Ricky Little, and this guy is completely different. He brings a lot more than Ricky Little. He's a lot heavier. He's a lot stronger. He hits a lot harder. He's been in with a lot better people. He's done a lot more in boxing than Ricky Little has. So we've had to change a lot. Like, before, it was just kind of like come forward and impose my will on Ricky Little, but that it's not, it can't really be done now. He's much bigger. There definitely will be times when I'm going to have to stand and fight with this guy. He's going to try and impose his will on me, but now it's kind of more of a get in, get out, do my work, and stay safe kind of thing. But there's a real big part of me that just wants to go in there and just throw hands till the bitter end. And I know at one point in the fight, I'm definitely going to do that. And I know at one point in the fight, Kieran's going to be there screaming his head off like, what the fuck are you doing? Get out. But, you know, But that's just the fighter in me, you know. I've never been afraid of anyone. I've never been you know, always try never to take a backward step. So yeah, it's gonna be an entertaining one. It definitely
is it going to be like a Jack the Usyk Hughes then? Is that what we're going to see for that fight? In and out.
Yeah, I think you might, mate. You might.
So we're only what, 2 weeks Saturday before your fight. So I imagine that you've got what, 1 more week of hard training before you taper down.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's next weekend, isn't it? So this is the last hard week.
Oh yeah, sorry, week
Yeah,
Saturday. Sorry, mate.
Yeah, this is the last hard week of training, and we're almost there. It's Wednesday tomorrow, halfway through. And as I said, after everything that's going on, I just seriously can't wait to get it out of the way. So yeah, this is the last hard week. My last spar's on Thursday. Friday, last hard day, and then after that, I just start to tape down, just get the weight off, and yeah, it's nice.
And how's the tickets sales going?
Yeah, tickets are good. I've done about like 55 tickets at the moment, and I've still got a couple left to do. I reckon I'll hit around like 80-90 tickets, which is quite nice. I'll make a little bit of, not a lot of money, but I'll make a little bit of money for the fight, which is nice.
Definitely deserve it, mate. I've seen you on your social media doing your errands, going about, dropping your tickets off. But we wish you the best of luck on week Saturday the 27th.
Thank you, mate.
But just like the previous video, if it's right of you, I'd like to get your opinion on a couple of things, and then I've got a couple of questions from, obviously you saw I put it on the social media. I think, last couple of days got a couple of questions. I wanted to ask you about the Jake Paul Tommy Fury fight coming up. I think it's the 18th of December, if my memory serves me rightly. But yeah, just wanted to get your opinion on that one.
Yeah, I kind of like this whole like the whole YouTube thing, you know. I've said it before, like the people that tend to be really bitter towards it, I think are just boxers that don't have not having the opportunities that they're having, kind of like the people like me that do have to run around, and it is hard for us, and we work just as hard as anyone, and we kind of feel like we deserve them spots. But at the end of the day, boxing's a business, and if you can sell out Manchester Arena and all the other venues they've been selling out, then of course they're going to get these. It's just common sense. Of course they're going to get these opportunities. They've worked just as hard as us in the sense to build their their platform and stuff, and that platform they've built over the years has got them entitled to these positions. So yeah, I kind of like it. I think it brings a whole new fan base to our sport. It brings a lot of people, a lot of eyes watching. Tommy Fury and Jake Paul, really, like, who are they in boxing? But it's all eyes on them at the moment, and so yeah, I think it's good. It's gonna, as I said, it's gonna bring a whole new people in. But I don't know if Jake Paul beats Tommy Fury. I don't think Jake Paul's not bad. He's not bad at all. He gets a lot of stick for who he is, and people kind of just like, when then people come in and just be like, oh, shit, but they won't really actually, give him time, let him learn, which he's doing, and I think he's doing all right. Of course he's not actually fought a boxer, but he's fought a lot of kind of high level fighters. They're not, obviously, again, they're not boxers, but the Tyron Woodley win was quite impressive. But yeah, I'm kind of interested about it. I'm looking forward to it. But I think Tommy Fury should really be able to beat Jake Paul.
I think the problem that Tommy Fury's got is, he's got the Fury surname. And I think anyone just automatically thinks that because he's a Fury, he should go in there and win. But we all know, with Tyson Fury, he's a bit of a freak of nature, and I don't think there's going to be another Tyson Fury for a long time. But Jake Paul's definitely grown on me. I wasn't really a much fan. I'm not a big fan, but I think, like you were saying, he's putting in the graft. He's not fighting, world beaters, but he is fighting former fighters. I think the last fight was he a former MMA champion or something?
Yeah, world champion.
Yeah, so he's putting it in there. But like me and Shane have said before, if it makes money, it makes sense. If they can go and sell arenas out, and they're going to do X amount of hundreds of thousands of pay-per-view buys, then if you're a promoter and again it makes money, you're going to be all over it.
Yeah, exactly, mate. Like all these people that get really bitter about it, it's just like, if they was in Jake Paul's shoes, what are they just going to turn around and be like, no, it's all right, I'll just go fight at York Hall, with no one watching, and Of course they're not. People just like to talk shit, really. Like if they was in the same position, they'd do exactly the same thing. Anyone would. So yeah, like I just think fair play to him. And then if he beats Tommy Fury, like kind of like the sky, not really the sky's the limit, but he's doing very well for himself. So yeah,
I think he gets a little bit more respect from the sort of the general fighting fans if he does go and beat him. But I think in the post-fight press conference, if he beats him, apparently the journalists have got to call him Tommy Fumbles or something.
Oh really?
Yeah, he's put loads of clauses in there just so it's a massive embarrassment. Like losing to Jake Paul when you're Tommy Fury coming from a fighting family is pretty bad enough on its own. But no, it makes for an interesting watch and a good build up. The press conference should be good.
Yeah.
And what about Logan Paul? He's trying to fight Tyson. What do you think of that? I don't know if that's actually going to happen, but he keeps on going on about it.
I actually think Logan Paul is the more talented brother. I remember watching obviously his fights with KSI and all that, and I actually thought he had quite a lot of talent. He's physically, he's an athlete. I mean, look at him, like he's in incredible shape. Like he was a high school wrestler. I'm pretty sure he did loads of other stuff. Like the guy's an athlete, so if he was actually to dedicate himself, we've got a trainer, like he could actually probably do all right. But I mean, in general, I just don't really like these exhibition fights. I just think, they're dangerous. Like, look what happened to Holyfield. I just think it's like people that can't let go just want to come out and still the limelight. And then you get like 50-year-old men versus 50-year-old men. And then everyone gets all really excited about it, thinking that like these 50-year-old men are going to come back in the prime of their life and put on an absolute blockbuster. It don't happen. Once you get old, you lose your speed, you lose your skill, you lose everything. That's the whole point of, well, it's not the whole point of getting old, but you know what I'm saying. That's what happens when you get older. You have a prime and you retire for a reason, and that's just how it is. So I'm not a fan of these exhibition fights. I kind of wish they would just scrap the whole thing, but I mean it won't happen because again, it makes money, so it makes sense, as you said. So it will never happen. But yeah, it is what it is at the end of the day.
Does it all go when you're 50 then, Shane?
Oh, I think you do slow down, son. I tell you that, you do slow down. Like I said, going and having a fight at 48 was not the fight, same as having a fight when you're 22. So, I mean, it's a different kettle of fish. But part of me, I can understand why they do it, because they're like fighters and they're born fighters. They fought all their life, and all of a sudden you take boxing away from them, you take the training away from them, and you don't really know what their life becomes. Do you mean their life isn't the same life as what it used to be? And there's probably always that carrot, that feeling of just going in and fighting. We know it's not good for them at the end of the day, but I think, I mean, when you get to a certain age and that's what you've done all your life, there's probably part of you that's always going to draw you in. It's probably like it's people around them, it's people that manage them, that should look after them, that end up putting them in the position, and they should be saying, look, Evander, you've done everything. Whoever 50, you've done it. You don't need to go back in the ring. But like you said, while there's a market for it, and while there's people that will want to watch it, Triller, everything, it will continue. It will stop when someone gets hurt, and that would be the sad thing.
I suppose as well, though, for the fighters, depending on their financial situation, if you're 50 and you've not got a load, and someone's going to come and fight, I'll give you £1 million or whatever, it's got to be tempting. But I think, like you're saying, Shane, until someone gets hurt, or until the commissions, don't keep sanctioning these licenses, then it's just going to continue. But yeah, no, some of them are right. Like you say, when you see YouTubers fighting YouTubers, they're young people. They're both at the same sort of ability, and they're actually getting in a gym, grafting. But yeah, in general, I'm not a massive fan. But I suppose it does bring eyeballs on the sport, and that can only be a good thing.
Yeah. Like, I mean, I'm not even a fan of like white collar life. I mean, even though I've gone to hundreds of white collar shows to support my friends and judged on them and promoted them, like I'm not really even a fan of white collar. I just think it's dangerous. Like there's no, you could have a middleweight fighting like a welterweight, and I just think it's mad. And then you could have someone that's had 100 amateurs or like 15 professional fights fighting someone on their debut, and so that stuff like that's just crazy to me. Obviously, you get good people like my coach from state of mind. You know, when he used to do his shows, it was always 50-50 fights. Every fight was fair. You know, there was no silliness. Like, so obviously there are some people that do it well and do it properly, and I mean that's how it should be done if you're going to do it. But yeah, just all these things of exhibitions that I really and white collar, I really I'm just not a fan. I wish the whole thing would just get scrapped, but I mean we've already spoke about that. But yeah,
when you think of what boxing is, you know, the objective is to knock your opponent unconscious, and you've got different weight categories. Yeah, it can be incredibly dangerous. But mate, we've got some questions from your followers and some people that follow our page, if that's all right.
Go for it.
and I've got just a couple more to finish off with, and if Shane, I don't know if Shane's got any, but yeah, we've got some anyway.
Yeah.
So, are you a bit of a QPR fan? Is that right?
Yeah,
so Someone's asked who your favourite player is.
My favourite player for QPR or just in general?
I think it was QPR, but go general if you want, mate.
No, well, I'll do both. So my favourite player of all time was Dennis Wise. I supported him. Like it was so funny. Like when I was younger, I used to support Chelsea because Dennis Wise played for them.
Yeah.
And then he moved to Leicester, and then I used to support Leicester. Then he moved to Millwall, and I supported Millwall. And then obviously about like 11, and I started like fell in love with QPR. And then but yeah, I was still always a massive Dennis Wise fan. Like when he went to Coventry, I went all the way down to Coventry to watch him play football. Every time he'd come to QPR, I'd be like, oh, I want it to be a draw, but I want Dennis Wise to score and all that stuff. So yeah, Dennis Wise is my favourite player of all time. And for QPR right now, it'd probably be Chair. I think he's like a great little player.
Yeah, I'm not overly familiar with the QPR squad, I must admit. I think Shane's football knowledge is better than mine. I've got another football related one, Messi or Ronaldo?
Oh, Ronaldo, 100%.
Why is that?
Mate, you think of Ronaldo, right? He's done it everywhere. He's done it for club, he's done it for country, he's done it in the Premier League, he did it in the Italian League, he did it in the Spanish League, he did it everywhere for different teams, everything. And he's still coming back now. What is he? He must be like mid-30s.
36, I think.
Yeah, 36, and he's still doing it now in the Premier League, where Lionel Messi was just in the greatest team of all time for his whole career, never went anywhere else, never come to the Premier League, which is supposedly the hardest league in the world, never really did it for his country. So yeah, no, I don't even think it's up for debate. I just think Ronaldo all day long.
I'll have to snippet that clip and put that out there separately. Someone's also asked as well about, you said on the previous video that you suffered a lot with anxiety when you were a bit younger, and you managed to sort of get through that. And I think you said previously that, you know, now you're pretty headstrong, you don't really suffer anymore. Someone's asked how you dealt with that and how you sort of got through it.
I did all that stuff, you know, when you like people go to therapy and all that, but in my opinion, I don't really believe in it. And I don't believe in taking medication and all that with anything. I just thought I've always kind of dealt with things myself, and the way I kind of mentally got over it is like, if something made me anxious, just say for instance, I used to get anxious going outside. So yeah, I just put myself in as many uncomfortable positions as possible until I felt comfortable in them positions, basically. So if something made me anxious, like just say for example, I was scared of dogs, so I would just go up to as many dogs as possible and pet them until it felt natural. Basically, that's the perfect way.
Just looking like a weirdo in the local park.
Yeah. Yes.
Just following a lot of dogs.
So yeah, like if it made me anxious going to a football game, I'd go to as many football games as possible until it become like I didn't think about it. And that's basically what I did. I just got out there as much as I could, put myself in new environments, new surroundings until it all become comfortable. And now, you know, I just don't even think about it anymore. I just get up, go throughout my day, you know, happy as can be, you know.
Just like sort of facing it head on then.
Yeah.
Well, I've got a couple more for you, matey. So when Harry Kane and Mo Salah are both at it, you know, fully on it, who do you pick to play in your team out of them two?
I think Mo Salah, in my opinion. I think.
Did you hear that, Shane?
Yeah, Tomo's just looking for snippets for later on now. That's what he's doing now.
Shane's a Spurs fan, isn't he?
Oh, is he? Oh,
Yeah, we had this debate a couple of weeks ago because someone asked Shane in the comments, just saying, you know, when they're both at it. For me as well, Mo Salah's he's arguably the best player in the world at the moment.
Yeah,
Don't get me wrong, Harry Kane's brilliant as well. I know he scores a lot against pub teams, but Salah is different level, I think.
Yeah, I agree. I think definitely Salah, 100%.
Yeah, sorry, Tom. There was a couple of questions that just come through on the phone from a couple of our supporters, and one of those was ask Jack if he had to support Man U or Liverpool, who would he go for?
I think I'd go for Liverpool.
Yeah, all right, Shane. And what TV series are you watching at the minute?
Oh, I don't really watch much TV nowadays, you know. But I've just I watched. Oh, mate, I don't know if you've ever watched it, but it's so crap, and I don't know why I watch it.
My missus probably watches it, then if it's bad.
Have you seen that cartoon Big Mouth?
No.
It's on like a Netflix series. I swear to God, just watch it. It's the worst thing you'll ever watch in your life. And I said this to my missus when I first put it on. I was like, look, don't judge me. I was like, this is pure utter shit. But I've watched every series, and then I put it on, and she thinks the same. She thinks it's shit, but she's now watched every series as well. So you know, like, but yeah, I've been watching that. We was watching the Scream, you know, the movie Scream. There's a TV series on that on Netflix.
Oh, okay, yeah, no, I've not seen that.
Watching that, I don't think it's probably many people's cup of tea, but it's kind of like the kind of stuff I like American teen dramas, like. So yeah, that I watched. Atypical was something I've been watching, which is really. I think it's finished now, but that was really good. I watched like Sons of Anarchy throughout lockdown, which is probably one of the best series I've ever watched.
Yeah, I've seen it. That's not bad.
That's a great series. But yeah, I don't really watch much TV nowadays, to be honest. I used to bang out like TV series and movies, but at the moment I don't really watch many.
You seen Breaking Bad?
Yeah, that was brilliant. Breaking Bad was brilliant. Yeah,
that is pretty good. I suppose as well, mate, with your sort of like lifestyle at the moment, sort of come this sort of time, you probably just want to go to bed.
Yeah, but I don't get much time to myself. Like, when I'm working, I'll be up at 4 in the morning, and then I'll be finished by 2, and then by 3 I'm down the gym, and then I won't get home till like 6, and then I've got to, eat, shower, all that. And by the time everything's done, it's like 8, 9 o'clock. I'll spend a bit of time with my missus, or maybe go on like, chat with my friends or whatever. But, so there's not really much time for me to fill out the day with like hours and hours of TV series and movies and stuff.
Absolutely. A final one for me then, mate. If you had to pick 5 boxers, not necessarily on their ability, but just your top 5 boxers in a minute.
So current boxers, yeah?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, active boxers, yeah.
Yeah. I think Fury would obviously. I think most people would have Fury up there.
Yeah.
I still think, even though he lost, I still think Lomachenko is right up there, and I think he'd beat any of them like again in a rematch. I think it was just a bit of an off night for him when he lost, but I just think Lomachenko is just pure class. So am I just thinking top 10 or just my favourites?
Yeah,
I really like Josh Warrington. Like, I'm a big Josh Warrington fan. Do you know what? One person I really like, and a lot of people hate him, is Chris Eubank Jr. But I really like Chris Eubank Jr. Like, I just think his attitude, like, towards training and everything, I love it, man. Like, yeah, I don't think he's world class, but I just think he's great.
But what about him for years though? Just on that, he didn't have a trainer for years, did he? I know he's with Roy Jones Jr. But for me, that used to sort of just like baffle me really, because I just you obviously need some direction. A little bit like Prince Patel as well. I know he's a controversial character, and he's not particularly liked by, well, I say a lot of people. I know he fell out with IFL as well. But his interviews are hilarious.
Yeah.
But I just feel like when you're out there, you're fighting, because he was like, oh yeah, I'll go around the world, it's just me, and I'll just get there and ask people if they want to be in my corner. Yeah, all right then, mate, come on. What do you think of that though? Because obviously I know you're with Kieran Duffy and you're very happy, so to be training on your own with like no one.
Yeah, no, it is crazy. Like, you can't do it on your own. You can't, especially if you haven't had like a real high level amateur career, like I mean, like a lot of boxers really nowadays. But yeah, like a trainer's like your backbone, man. They're like the backbone behind everything. They're the ones really that come up with the game plans, and they're the ones that guide you, look out for you, you know, guide you in the right directions. Yeah, having a trainer, in my opinion, I mean, I think in 99% of boxers' opinion, is so important, so important.
And what about his fight against Liam Williams? I think that's a difficult fight. I think Williams is a tough opponent. There's obviously bad blood between them. They don't like each other.
Yeah, mate, do you know what? I think people may sound crazy, but I think that has the potential to be like one of the greatest fights in British history. I think because them two, neither of them take a backward step. I think that could just be an all-out action-packed war, and I'm really looking forward to that. And I'm trying to go to it. I'm trying to convince my missus to go down to Wales because she's actually from Newport, so we could just go down there and spend the weekend in Wales. So I'm trying to get tickets to that. But I think that could be one of the greatest fights in British history. But I think Liam Williams is, even though I'm a Eubank fan, I think Liam Williams is probably going to take that.
What points?
Yeah, I think points. Chris Eubank's proper tough. But I mean, there could easily be a knockout, but I think it would be points. Yeah.
Yeah, we had Brad Pauls on here last week, and that was his prediction as well. Even though he's with the same promotional company, he did say, like, I should really be saying my man's going to knock him out, but he did get down off the fence after a while.
Yeah.
And I think I think you've given us 3 boxers, mate. Just 2 more, and we'll let you go because we're taking enough of your time up, I think.
Sure, it was 4, wasn't it? I'm sure I'll give you 4.
Chris Eubank, Warrington, Fury.
Okay.
Yeah, one more.
Yeah, let me take one more. Who's active at the moment that I like? Do you know? Just probably a random one. You ask me this question every day. My answer would probably be different because there's people you forget and so on and so forth. But I'm always a fan of the underdogs, and I was really happy for that Kiko Martinez the other day when he knocked out Kyle Fly. Yeah. I mean, it's Kyle Fly. Sorry, Kid Galahad. That was brilliant. He's like mid 50s, mid 30s. You know, like he probably in a sense is past his best, but he's still, he's still fighting at top level, still giving these guys hard times, and like he was not picked to win that fight at all. That was meant to be a walkover, and he just come out and just absolutely blasted him out of there. And I couldn't believe it when I see it. I was like, turning to my missus, like, oh my god, I can't believe what just happened. Like,
I saw your video, yeah.
So fair play to him. I'll give him the top 5 list today for that one.
Yeah, no, like you say, the last one could change, but I think so. Yeah, like you say, sometimes it is nice to see the upset. You know, you do get, I suppose, predominantly matchroom fighters and matchroom shows normally winning. But there's a couple of shocks, and I think the name
Terry Harper lost.
Yeah, she lost as well. And did you see any of that? Stevie Levy, she's a character. I've heard a lot about her. I haven't actually seen anything, but I've heard a lot about her, and apparently she's getting quite a lot of attention lately. Yeah, have a look. Her interviews, her IFL done a little bit. She had a list of 5 people she wanted to meet. It was like 5 things she wanted to do, like meet Eddie Hearn, meet Coogan, fight in a matchroom show. And there's a couple more I can't remember, but yeah, have a quick look, mate. It's definitely worth having a look at. They're brilliant. But anyway, mate, it's been an absolute pleasure getting you back on. I didn't expect you to come back on so soon. We thought we would get you back on after the 27th, but of course, the landscape's changed a little bit for you.
Yeah, of course.
But again, we wish you all the best on the 27th. No doubt we'll speak to you before, but we'd like to obviously get you on after, mate, if that's right. Talk about your fight, and then
of course.
And then looking forward to then obviously your title fight in March next year.
Yeah, man. Yeah, whenever you guys need me, I'm always happy to jump on. And as I say, I love doing things like this, man. I love just talking about boxing, and so whatever you want me on, guys, just give me a shout. I'm always happy. I'm always available.
Yeah, no, thanks very much, mate. Anything you'd like to add, Shane?
Yeah, I just wanted to know where do you want to be at the end of year 22? What do you want to have achieved, and where do you want to be at that point?
But in my weight class, I think like I can basically achieve my lifelong dream by the end of next year, because there's just the opponents ain't there. Like there's less people, so you get more opportunities and so on. So obviously by the end, by March time, I want to be Southern Area champion, which is the first step in that direction. And then hopefully maybe a fight or two later, I can get the Commonwealth title, which is what I've set out to do. That's my dream. Well, technically, really, just winning the Southern Area title was my dream. I mean, if I just did that, I'd be more than happy with that. But to be like fully happy with boxing, it would be the Commonwealth title, and I think I can do that. And I also want to get my second license as well, so I can be a part of like other people's big nights, because I love boxing. It's my life, and when I go and see my friends fight, I want to be in their corner. I'm quite a knowledgeable kid when it comes to knowing the inside out of boxing. And I think I can pass on like great knowledge in the corner. So I want to get my second license. I want to do that. And I want to be Southern Area and Commonwealth champion by the end of 2022.
Fingers crossed that's what we get, because that'd be nice for us to do that. 22, be speaking to a Commonwealth champion.
Yeah, exactly.
I suppose as well, mate, your goals are forever changing depending on your your progression. If you win, all being well, you win the Southern Area, and then you've only got I suppose naturally you've just got to look at bigger and better things.
Yeah, of course, exactly. When I win the Commonwealth, I might say to you, "Oh, now my dream's to win the the European title," and then when I win that, maybe to win the world title. As you said, it's true. The more you achieve, the more kind of you want. But yeah, so we're just I just take it a day at a time, and take life a day at a time and see what happens.
Yeah, that's it. That's when we contact him, Shane. He's like, "Who are you again?"
Yeah,
I only go on IFL and Boxing Social now.
That's when he does a Ricky Little and does one.
Yeah. So I just go AWOL on you, stop replying to your messages.
Yeah, that's it, mate. Anyway, Jack, mate, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you for jumping back on.
Thank you.
And we will catch up with you soon, mate.
Cool, man. Thank you.
Bye.
Yeah.
See you later.